Alright, today I am doing my personal dream list for 2026 on Nintendo Switch 2. These are the games that feel like easy 10 out of 10 experiences to me, the kind of stuff I would drop everything for the moment they hit the eShop. Some of these are remakes, some are big sequels, and a few feel like total wildcards, which is honestly my favorite mix. Let's get into it. Fatal Frame 2 has always been my comfort horror game, if that is even a thing. The Crimson Butterfly story hits hard, and I love how the camera obscura turns fear into a tool you control. A remake on Nintendo Switch 2 could be the perfect way to relive it, with sharper shadows, thicker fog, and that slow, creepy pacing that modern games forget. I would play this in handheld, lights off, headphones on, and let the sound design do its thing. I am also hoping for smoother camera controls and gyro aiming, because lining up a ghost shot should feel natural. If they keep the original vibe and just polish the rough edges, this is an easy 10 out of 10 for me. And please, no jump scare spam, just the steady dread that crawls under your skin slowly. I grew up on Bond movies, so a fresh 007 game always gets my attention. What I want from 007 First Light on Nintendo Switch 2 is that clean mix of stealth, gadgets, and style, without turning into a loud shooter the whole time. Give me a mission where I sneak through a casino, then a chase across rooftops, then a quick conversation choice that changes the next objective. That is peak Bond to me. The best part would be replaying levels to try different approaches, like pure stealth, smooth talker, or chaotic gadget guy. I also hope the writing keeps the humor light, because Bond works best when he is cool, not grim. If the performance is solid and the controls feel tight, this could be my go-to action game in 2026 for me. Monster Hunter Stories is my chill side of the Monster Hunter universe. Instead of pure action, it is all about raising monsters, building a team, and planning turns like a smart card game. If Stories 3, Twisted Reflection hits Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026, I am ready to lose weekends to it. I want a huge map full of dens, rare eggs, and that moment when you hatch something amazing and immediately name it something silly. Battles are at their best when you are reading patterns, swapping weapons, and timing those big kinship attacks. I also love co-op because trading monsters and teaming up for tough fights keeps the grind fun. If the story is strong, the endgame is deep, and the performance is smooth, this could be the most addictive RPG on the system hands down.
Now's a chance!
I have replayed the Metal Gear games so many times that I can still hear the alert sound in my head. A Master Collection Volume 2 on Nintendo Switch. 2 would be my excuse to do it all again, but this time on the couch, in bed, and on flights. What makes these games special is how they let you be clever. You are not just shooting, you are sneaking, scouting, and using weird little tools to outsmart guards. I also miss the long codec chats and the dramatic boss fights that feel like puzzles, not just damage races. For a collection, I mostly want stable performance, clean controls, and options like save states or quick retries so I can experiment. If it respects the originals and runs well, this is pure stealth history in your hands every single time.
The soldiers.
Will you do this for me? Will you terminate Liquid? How long is my body gonna hold out?
And all of this.
Pragmata has that weird sci-fi vibe that instantly hooks me. I love games that feel like you are exploring a lonely future, where every hallway is quiet until it is not. From what we have seen, this one looks like it mixes shooting with hacking puzzles, and I am all in for that. On Nintendo Switch 2, I want it to feel smooth and responsive, because tense fights do not work if the frame rate stutters. The big draw for me is the duo dynamic, with an astronaut-type character and a kid who can mess with tech. That opens the door for smart teamwork, like freezing drones, opening doors mid-fight, and turning the environment into your weapon. If the story lands and the gameplay stays fresh, Pragmata could be that single-player surprise hit I talk about. Oblivion is one of those games I played way too young, got lost for hours, and somehow still remember the music. A remastered version on Nintendo Switch 2 would be pure nostalgia, but I also think it could pull in new players who skipped that era. Cyrodiil has a cozy fantasy vibe that feels different from Skyrim, with brighter forests, goofy NPC conversations, and quests that go off the rails in the best way. I would jump straight into the guilds again, steal everything that is not nailed down, and then accidentally become the hero anyway. What I want most is faster loading, cleaner menus, and combat that feels less clunky while keeping the charm. If the world looks sharper and runs smoothly in handheld, I can already see myself starting another character at midnight to chase the vibe again. Final Fantasy VII. Rebirth is the kind of game that makes me stop and smile when the music hits. I already love the mix of action, combat, and tactical choices because it feels fast but still lets me think. On Nintendo Switch 2, I just want a version that keeps the visuals sharp and the battles smooth, even in open areas. The real magic is the party. Cloud, Tifa, Barret, Aerith, and the rest have this chemistry that makes every camp moment feel earned. I am also a sucker for side stuff, like mini-games, weird enemies, and finding materia just because I took a detour. Rebirth feels like a massive road trip with friends, and I am here for the highs, the drama, and the ridiculous moments. If you want a 10 out of 10 JRPG, this is it. Resident Evil is my go-to series when I want that mix of panic and problem-solving. If Resident Evil Requiem is the next big entry on Nintendo Switch 2, I hope it leans into survival first, action second. Give me tight hallways, locked doors, a map full of red rooms, and puzzles that make me feel smart when I finally get the key item. I also love that classic inventory stress, where you are deciding between carrying ammo or a healing herb, because it keeps every choice spicy. The best Resident Evil games also have a strong gimmick, like a stalker enemy or a weird setting, so I am curious what Requiem brings. Most of all, I want lighting and sound, because fear is 90% atmosphere. If it nails that, I am ready to get scared over again.
Jesus.
Fire Emblem is my comfort strategy series, the one I play when I want to think and also get attached to characters. Fortune's Weave sounds like it could bring a fresh twist, and I am hoping for a new world with politics, betrayals, and that classic moment where a side character suddenly becomes your favorite. The battles need that clean grid feel, with terrain bonuses that actually matter and skills that change how you approach a map. I also want the support conversations to be funny and heartfelt, because that is what makes the permadeath stakes hit harder. On Nintendo Switch 2, I am dreaming of faster menus and snappier animations, so turns fly by without losing the drama. If the game gives me choices, flexible builds, and a soundtrack I hum, I will sink 100 hours into it. I have a spot for Digimon RPGs because they feel like a mix of monster raising and cartoon adventure. Time Stranger sounds like it could go big on the story, and I am hoping it leans into choices, roots, and that fun feeling of not knowing what your team will evolve into next. On Nintendo Switch 2, this is the kind of game I want on trips, because turn-based battles and party building are perfect for handheld play. The real hook is collecting. I love scanning new Digimon, hunting for forms, and tweaking stats until my squad feels personal. I also want side quests that send me back to old areas with new abilities, so the world keeps opening up. If the pacing is good and the endgame has a grind, I can see this becoming my cozy game.
You're the best!
Huh? Magic merry-go-round!
So yeah, that is my 10 out of 10 wishlist for Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026. If even half of these land and run great, I am basically set for the whole year. Which one are you most excited to play, and what is your personal must-have game for 2026?